So welcome in, everyone. This is a really good turnout. Thank you so much for being here.
This is a shocking turnout, quite honestly.
I'm really excited for this. So we were both just at TwitchCon actually, and I had a few panels there, and yeah, not done with panels yet, so here we are. So we have one obviously on, so you want to stream on Twitch. I know some of you are beginner streamers because we just asked that, some, more advanced, whatever. So we hope to kind of cater this towards everyone and everything, and like I said, we'll have a Q&A at the end to answer some questions as well. So I guess we'll get into it. It's just Moohoodles and Shrum here. I realize people can't hear me as well when I turn this way.
Yeah.
Actually, we can hear you fine.
That's good.
He needs to get the microphone closer.
Eat your mic.
Okay, I'll eat the microphone.
Just get up there.
I have a very booming voice. I'm speaking quietly. Thank you.
Yeah, if you can't hear us, well, just yell at us. So I'm Moohoodles. Hello. I do science communication streams on outer space and astrobiology. I also talk about sharks and conservation and programming, and I play video games, from retro games up to newer games. I'm a little all over the place, but it blends in together. I've been streaming for over a decade now, which is pretty unreal. It actually took me like 9 years to get partner, and part of that is because I didn't have a consistent schedule as I was going through college and life and all of the things. But yeah, that's me. I aim to increase scientific literacy, uplift women in STEM, make people laugh, have a good time. I also have like the ADHD, chaos, snort laughs, whatever.
I'm Shrum. I have to look at that slide. I started in December 2017 as a PUBG streamer and realized that wasn't it. And so I switched to retro February of 2018, and I've been doing that since, and I'm partnered April 2022. Retro for me is NES up to the PS2. So I do that. I also do occasionally like photo editing streams and some variety, like Stardew or Factorio or indie games, things like that. But mostly retro speedruns and achievements, things like that.
So, what is Twitch? Why should we stream there?
Well, they say that Twitch is a live streaming platform that allows users to watch and interact with video content, including video games, music, and creative content.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it's not just video games?
No, surprisingly,
Whoa.
It's not just video games.
I had no idea.
Yeah, now you know.
That's great. We have some stats at the bottom, but I feel like we don't really have to read those. But if you care about the things.
Well, the reason why the stats are there, I'll say real quick. The reason why the stats are there is there are a lot of streaming services out there that come and go. There was Mixer, there was Caffeine, there was Facebook Gaming. There's Twitch is still the big one. Fortunately, there are other options, YouTube Gaming, Kick, things like that, that are necessary in the space because they push Twitch to innovate. But the reason why we're speaking about Twitch and the reason why we stream on Twitch is because it's the biggest. So that doesn't mean that the other platforms are not viable.
Yeah, we do like Twitch a lot though. So I just have a few things to consider, I guess, before we get into it. Just kind of. I don't know, a whole lot of things. I think before you start streaming, you can consider, why do you want to stream? Do you want to do it for fun? Do you want to do it to try to do it like full time? I'm a full-time streamer as well. I probably should have said that in my intro. So I do it full time, but when I started streaming, I just did it because I thought it was funny and would be entertaining for games, like to watch play games. But it turned into something full time for me, and I'm really grateful for it. But it is definitely hard to get into full time streaming, to be honest. But it's fine to stream full time for fun, whatever you want it to be. Also, I think a strong why statement of like why you stream is really good. Like earlier you heard me say that I aim to increase scientific literacy and uplift women in STEM. That's a very big why reason for my stream, as well as just making people's days brighter. This is maybe slightly more of an advanced topic, but I think it can really help out in your growth if you know like your message in your stream.
The number one piece of advice that I always offer anyone who asks me for advice about streaming on Twitch is be honest. Be honest with yourself, and be honest with the people that are giving their time to be with you. money and all that, they can work and they can earn more. They can't get back their time. They're giving their time to be with you, to watch your content. So you need to be honest about why you're doing it. You need to be honest with yourself, because if you're going into it and you're like, I'm just going to do it for fun, but secretly you're like, I'm hoping that I become the next Kai Cent or the next Pokimane or whoever, you're going to be wildly disappointed. Like, you need to be honest with yourself and then with your viewers about why you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Also, I guess we can run into community building a little bit. So this is a big part of streaming. Having a Discord community and stuff outside of your stream obviously helps a lot. This can be more advanced depending what you want to do with your stream, right? You don't have to build a community, do all of that. But you know, if you want to like make your stream into a little something more, not just do it for fun for like some of your closer friends, community building is a great way to grow your stream and also grow a fantastic community. So obviously Discord servers and stuff outside of Twitch help. You can have like movie nights or game nights. You can play games with viewers, all of that good stuff. Also, obviously, it's Twitch, which is a live streaming interactive platform. So interact with your chat. That's, I think, a really, really big one. You can get to know people like through your Twitch stream, obviously, and like, you know, make friends, which is really cool. Or not as well, parasocial things. Let me point that out. But, you know, it's a really, I think it's really cool. I've made a lot of friends on Twitch personally. So yeah, I think your like interactions and moderation within your own chat kind of guides how your community will be as well. So I would say aim to be like positive and inclusive. We'll touch on moderation a bit more later, but I think that's a really big one. Like how you act as a streamer, this is also a little more advanced maybe, but how you act as a streamer and like how you interact with your chat really kind of facilitates how your community is. So I think my community is pretty like welcoming and nerdy and is always happy to answer people's questions. And that's because I'm like that, and I also welcome it in my stream, and I thank people when they do those things, so they know that it's like good behavior, you know? That sounds kind of weird when I say it out loud.
My community hates me. I do a community Tuesday every Tuesday where people get to pick the games that I play for 30 minutes, and they just pick the most rotten, awful, horrible games. So yeah, you know, cultivate the people you want to be around, just like in real life.
Agreed. And I think a big part of this as well is actually a common mistake that I see beginning streamers make. And like, let me be real with you, this took me like 8 years to be able to do, but enforce your boundaries.
Yes.
It's
Very important.
Hard as a streamer, it can be hard as a woman as well, but it's really good to, like if someone in your chat is making you uncomfortable, just note. And like I said, we'll touch on moderation later, but make sure you're comfortable with your stream and your chat and everything. There's a few other common mistakes. I don't know which ones you want to touch on.
Thinking you'll make money is a good one. That's important. Yeah, so we'll talk about monetization a little bit later, but a lot of people, and I hear this from friends who are like school counselors or teachers or parents or whatnot. I'm 43, by the way. I was partnered when I was 40, so you're not too old to do it. But I've been talking with other school counselors and whatnot. A lot of kids are like, oh, I want to grow up to be a YouTuber, and I want to stream on Twitch. It's like, okay, that's great, but that's not, like, don't go into it thinking you're going to just retire off of the sick winnings you're going to get, because it's not going to happen, probably. So that's a big mistake, and that's part about being honest.
That's a big thing, yeah.
That's a big thing about being honest with yourself is, you know, I started streaming because I was looking for friends. I used to be a professional Battlefield 2 player, and I wanted to kind of recapture those glory days. And so, unfortunately, I turned to PUBG for some reason. And those of you that are laughing understand. So I wanted to make friends, but I also wanted to make money, and you know, yes, I do earn money on Twitch, but it's not, I still work a full-time day job. I also have a photography business, and I stream. So, you know, for me personally and what I want to do in life, Twitch is not the end-all be-all, but.
And I'm doing full-time streaming, but I put this in here just because, you know, everything Shrum said, but also like it is pretty hard to do it full time. And I think it's important to be honest and upfront about that, because I think a lot of people go in being like, oh, it's fine, like the streamers I watch make money and they have bids thrown at them all the time. Like it takes a long time and a while, I guess depending on the person, to, you know, build a community and have like monetary support. And we'll get more into that, all of that later and stuff. But I think it's good to kind of go in there with correct expectations, because then you can also get really bummed out being like, oh gosh, I didn't make any money, or oh, I'm not growing enough, and then that just makes streaming not as fun and kind of like bums you out too. So I think keeping like a, you know, positive attitude and everything is helpful.
Yep.
Also, I think it's good to like save your past broadcasts, enable your VODs. That's something I didn't do for the entire first year or more.
Super easy way to create content for multiple platforms.
Mm-hmm.
You can just take your VODs and you can either edit them down yourself or clips or whatnot, and then you can put them on YouTube and other places like that.
Actually, you want to put the whole thing on YouTube, because Twitch only stores them for like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, except in certain circumstances. Yep, that's true.
Yeah, you got to download them pretty quick. They also have like the vertical clip editor. That's like a really easy way to export it to like TikTok, Instagram, whatever,
Short
YouTube
form.
or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is a really nice way, and it saves you a lot of time and stuff on editing videos, unless you're at the point where you're hiring an editor. But yeah. I would also say be mindful of quality options too, especially for like affiliates? Partners have different quality options, but for affiliates or like non-affiliates, you don't have an option, I think, to change the quality of your.
They do with
now?
enhanced broadcasting.
Oh, well, never mind then. I'm behind. I didn't know they put that in.
Nope, that was a recent thing.
I mean, this touches, though, on how Twitch is an ever-changing environment, which we'll also get into later. There's a lot of things to keep up with. And also, I think a big common mistake that I see a lot of beginning streamers make is like self-promotion stuff, which is a little weird to talk about, but just be mindful. It's kind of like Twitch etiquette, and I know there's some like Twitch etiquette stuff out there. Some of my friends have done panels and talked about it. But I think self-promotion is kind of a weird one, because as much as you want to promote your stream, it's not always a great way to, like, it's not always great to go into someone else's stream and be like, hey, I'm streaming, or hey, I'm doing this. It's usually like looked down upon, and that's something that a lot of beginners don't quite understand. So it can be kind of hard to like network and do this and do that. And I mean, gosh, I'm trying to think of what advice I would give. I think like rating and just like making like genuine friendships with people, not just like networking, you know, is a really good way to kind of grow your stream, and also meet people who stream similar stuff to you as well. So yeah, just be wary about the self-promotion stuff. People are not gonna go into your stream if you go into another streamer's chat and you're like, I'm about to start my stream, or oh, I stream this all the time. But yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. So we'll get into some of the basics here. That's my computer setup, which I'll talk about at the end. So you can obviously kind of choose a niche for your stream. I know at the bottom I say that you can, you know, choose any niche or create new content genres. I helped like pioneer the science and technology category. There was not always non-gaming categories on Twitch, and I just talked about it while I played games, and then they created categories, and then eventually they made science and tech. If you do a new content genre, you can like talk to Twitch and be like, hey, make this a thing, which is really cool. But there's so many different things you can do on Twitch, literally like nearly anything within 2 days.
Yeah, I've got friends that do woodworking, metalworking, working on cars. You know, there's over-the-road truckers that will stream their drives. You have people painting and creating music and singing. They just got a brand new DJ category. They've got programming. They've got photography. They've got, you know, and any game, but basically that you can think of.
There's even charity
So,
drives.
Do they do? They have people are paleontology. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much stuff.
If you can think of it either exists or there's a space for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we just shouted out a ton, but yeah, there's, you know, lifestyle stuff, cooking, IRL, all the gaming stuff. There's like the entire retro category, which I'll let you talk on.
Yeah, retro. So there are individual categories for like specific games. You know, there's Fortnite, there's Valorant, there's League of Legends, there's, you know, there are specific games. Even within retro, there are categories for the individual games. Super Mario 64, for example, is a very big category. A lot of speedrunners, huge on its own. You know, but there are categories that kind of encompass everything. So there's like an arts and crafting category. There isn't one specifically for painting, there isn't one specifically for sculpture, there's just arts and crafts. For retro, for example, that encompasses everything, and there's no one that's like gonna gatekeep people in there, but it can cover.
I'm sorry, when I played Half-Life 2, people were coming in being like, Half-Life 2 is not a retro game.
Well, yeah, there's those people.
So
but-
they're not gonna gatekeep.
No, what I mean
but
is
you'll get people.
like they're right. If you stream in retro and you're doing Half-Life 2, like Twitch isn't gonna like kick you out or anything.
No.
Yeah, so there are a lot of categories, and retro, that just covers everything, and that's honestly the nice thing about. That's the reason why I decided to do retro, is because I can play tens of thousands of video games all under one category, and there's always something for everyone. People love first playthroughs, they love speed runs, challenge runs, achievements. So that's why I picked retro, for example.
Retro category is awesome. Also, shout out to education category. I know we talked about science and technology, programming, game dev category, all of that. I do kind of see like an uprising trend, and I'm not trying to be biased here, but I do feel like educational content is kind of taking off a little bit on Twitch.
Yeah.
And so let me just do a little shout out that I think anyone can kind of bring educational stuff into your stream. I just did a creator camp at TwitchCon on this, and it is actually really beneficial. So like some insider advice here is if there's something that you feel like you can teach other people, even if it's in a video game, it's actually a really great way to draw people into your
Absolutely.
stream and have them come back, because then you're like the news source for this game's updates or something instead of just for gameplay. So that's like my little advanced tip there.
What's the game? It's what is it? PoE?
Path of
Exile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend from Florida, and every time that the new so Path of Exile is kind of like Diablo or Titan Quest, like it's a third-party ARPG. Anyway, they do new seasons every 6 weeks, and every 6 weeks she does the whole thing, breaking it all down, explaining it to everyone, because it's super confusing. If you've ever done Path of Exile, and that's what she's built her whole content around, is just educating, and that's a great way. Moo makes a great point. That.
Thank you. I will say though, whatever kind of category you choose can definitely affect your growth. If you're starting off, like don't worry about stream whatever you want, right? But just be aware that it can affect it. Because,
Stream whatever you want. Okay.
well, I mean, yeah, stream.
You should stream what you want. I agree with you.
I mean, do what makes you happy and brings you joy. But if you're trying to grow, or you're going for partner or
Yes,
something,
that's
it's
different.
good to be a little more aware.
It's super, exactly. It's super nice if you can play what you want and people want to watch it. Like, that's awesome, and that's a recipe for growth. But, if your goal for streaming is to be full-time or make partner or whatever it is, you're not only just going to be able to play what you want.
It's hard to, I'll be upfront, like part of the reason why it took me like 9 years to be a partner is because I was very variety. I was jumping around to so many different games, from retro to a new one to whatever random game. And that's fantastic, but it does take longer to grow because some people just want to be there for like one specific game or one specific category.
And you can think about it, like think about your favorite musician or your favorite actor, like, if you've got a band that you love and they have, come out with new albums every couple of years, sometimes you're like, I just don't dig the album. Like there's nothing, I'm just not interested. Or you're the favorite actor of yours that puts out a movie and you're like, that's just not my thing. And you turn it off. Or you're watching you're watching AGT or something and you're like, oh, I hate magicians, so I'm just not gonna watch the magician acts. Like we do this in real life. We are selective about the things we watch, regardless of whether or not we really love the thing. There are times when it's just not interesting, and it's rare that you think about it. It's rare that you come across someone an entertainer who you're like, I will watch anything they do. There's usually a caveat, and being variety on Twitch is really hard because I'll just come out and say it. Some people shouldn't stream. Like with that's the cold hard fact. Like you can have the best setup and you can have the best lights and the best microphone and everything, but if you have the personality of wet wallpaper, like it's going to be hard. And that's and so being variety. That's why it's important when Moo is talking about choosing a niche. I don't know.
Whatever.
Choosing a thing. You know, being variety, you've got to have the personality that is going to make people watch you regardless. So even when you're doing variety, you're still going to have things that bring people back. So it's a lot of times it's easier to just focus on one thing, because then you're more likely to, you know, develop a relationship with the people that like that thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Growth in everything on Twitch can be hard, for sure.
We could do panels on
Oh,
on growth and everything, but choosing a niche is important.
Yeah, I think one thing that helps with my stream is that I like just get super duper excited over everything ever.
It's true.
So I think my little ADHD interactions with everything is pretty entertaining to watch, but like that is just naturally me. So I didn't really have to get in my head about it and be like, oh, well, am I entertaining? I was just like, I'm just gonna do the things, and it turns out I was. So that sounds really cocky. But I mean, I think, you know, I guess that could be something to keep in mind or whatever as you stream. Like, just be you. And I think if you're having fun and you're passionate about what you're doing, that shows and is reflected in your stream, and that makes other people have fun. Like, when you're having fun, other people are like, oh, this is exciting. I'm having fun too. I will say, I think that being consistent with your content is obviously helpful for growth, and being consistent with your schedule as well. I definitely saw the most growth in my stream when I just stayed with one game and had a consistent schedule of, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it's yeah, that's, I think, some big advice if you want to grow. I will also say, if you're at the point where you're able to do this, like if you have enough chatters in your community, I think it's a really good idea to have like the first hour or so of your stream where you just kind of talk and like hang out with your community before you hop into a game, because it can be hard to like play a game and also pay attention to everything going on in chat at times. I kind of do this like within the science and technology category as I'm like catching up with current news in space and everything. So I will always do that before I jump into games. But some people will just go right into just chatting, and they'll hang out with their communities, and then they'll go and play games. And that's like kind of the, I don't know if I want to say the meta right now, but I think the majority of streamers who are building communities or who are like established and have some are doing that. But I also know that not everyone like has a bunch of chatters in their stream like right when they're starting or soon after and whatnot. So just kind of do like what works with you, but whenever you're growing, that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I was gonna say, spoiler alert for the next slide, which is about equipment and setup and everything. So really fast, you can do whatever you want in your stream. I'll let Shrum talk more on the next slide. I just wanted to point out on this, can you see the mouse? Oh, okay, so I have a beautiful computer. I have cameras pointed at my computer because I'm a huge nerd, and it's like a thing in my stream where I'll compliment my computer. But I have like a softbox light up here because I have a green screen, so that has to be well lit. Don't feel like you need to have a green screen, but if you do, make sure you have the proper lighting because it doesn't look good otherwise, and that's like, yeah, it's a whole thing. I also have two like little lights on top of my monitors that I actually have pointed at my wall to bounce light back to like light me up. Really bright lights in my face is like nauseating and I hate it, so I'm just like using my wall as reflection there. I have a DSLR camera, but you do not whatsoever need to do this at all. You don't even need to have a camera if you don't want. I also have a microphone that's like an XLR mic, so I have a mixer. You can just use a USB mic, you know, whatever you want to do. And I have the little Stream Deck down here as well, which is really nice for like little hotkeys or buttons. I can like take a clip of my stream. I can like purge chat or do like moderation stuff. I can change scenes in OBS easily and be like, I'm gonna go from, you know, like my BRB screen into a game or whatever. It's a nice like kind of quick, easy way to just be like, boop, 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 here we go. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my setup.
Yeah, so equipment and setup, that's my setup right now. I actually started with my phone. I was using my phone as my webcam. There was software that I could just, I don't remember what it was called, years ago, and I was using that, and just a headset mic off of my headphones.
I started with a laptop in my bed and nothing else.
Yeah, a lot of people start laptops. You can stream directly from, from a PS5. has the ability, I don't know if the Xbox Series 1 or S or whatever it is. I'm a PC gamer, I'm sorry, I don't know. But I do know the PS5, for example, you can stream from that. So you don't need to have top of the line equipment. I would highly recommend you don't start with top of the line equipment, because maybe you're going to get 6 months in and be like, this just isn't my jam. And I've spent thousands of dollars on all this stuff that now I have no use for. You also don't need to buy when you do. So the light panels that I have there, they're from Amazon, for example, and it was $70 for the pair. And they're dimmable LEDs. They come with a little soft box, so I can set up a key light and then my fill. I have a Logitech C922, but then my DSLR is a refurb from Canon for $300. What I'm saying is you don't need top of the line equipment, and even when you do decide to get nicer things, you don't need to go with the name brand. You don't need to go with Elgato, any of that nonsense, because they're just praying. I'm sorry, I shouldn't. I'm trying to get a sponsorship with Corsair right now, and they want Elgato, so please no one tweet at them and tell them that I'm talking bad about their products. But just like with any space, there are a lot of things that are, it's kind of like chairs, for example. You can go buy a gamer chair. A gamer chair is just a rebranded executive chair. Yep. Like they just put fancy words on it to charge you more. Yep. You don't need to buy the gamer this, the gamer that. There are some things that you shouldn't skimp on, but there are other things. You like those light panels that I have. Elgato sells something similar. Excuse me, not Elgato. No, it's Elgato. I was trying to think of a different name so I wouldn't make fun of them.
Things,
yeah, but like Elgato sells, they're like $250 a pop, and you can buy the same thing on Amazon for like $70. You know what I mean? Like there's or less. There's 1,000 ways to skin the cat. Like you don't need to do that.
You don't need the best things.
Yeah, you don't need the best things. When it comes to software, OBS Studio is by far the largest. There is XSplit, which is I guess the next one. There's a few other ones like that. I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend using Slobs, Streamlabs OBS. Don't use them. Stick with normal OBS.
Yeah, I would say just use OBS Studio.
Yeah. As far as if I had to say there was one thing that you absolutely need to make sure you have, is a decent microphone. And you need to learn how to put filters on it in OBS, and you need to learn how it sounds. And when I say a decent microphone, you can buy a $50 USB mic, and you can put filters on it in OBS that comes with filters with compressors, and you can do side chain ducking, and you can talk about your noise suppression and all these noise gates and all these things. You can make a $50 microphone sound fantastic. Audio is key. You don't need a camera. You don't. Now, if you don't have a camera, you're going to have to be a little more personable in your voice. You're going to have to be a little more expressive that way. But some of the largest streamers that I happen to be friends with don't have cameras, and they've made that very successful. So it's not necessary. Mm-hmm. Lighting, green screen, all that stuff's optional. I don't use a green screen. I just have my, I stream in my bedroom.
I don't use a green screen. I just have a whole bunch of VTuber crap.
Okay. Yep. VTuber, PNG tuber. That's certainly a big thing now as well. But
you want to talk about peer acquisition syndrome?
I would also add to the audio stuff. You've maybe been in someone's stream or watched a video or something where the audio is just so loud, or it's almost clipping, or it's really bad, mm-hmm. and you just immediately exit. Yep. It does not matter if they're doing the coolest thing in the world. If the audio is bad, you're gonna mute it and you're gonna leave, and that's why we're emphasizing
Number
so
one
much
biggest thing. Yep.
that audio matters. I have closed out so many streams just because I can't stand it. And I hate when things aren't balanced. This is my personal opinion. I hate when things aren't balanced. Some people go for the really, really loud, alerts and other things, but like if I'm chilling at like 2 a.m. and I'm like winding down for bed or something, I guess different streams for different times, but that could also be something to keep in mind and be aware of, is like how your audience is or how your audio is balancing together. And you can check that out in OBS, but I would also super recommend that you record your VOD, like record the stream, and watch it afterwards, at least some parts of it. But when you watch your stream, you not only learn like how you are as a streamer and things that you could do to improve, but you also get to hear how your audio sounds and how everything looks. And it's like really awkward to do, but audio is so key.
Super important. OBS has the ability to record locally instead of streaming live, and so you can just record locally to your computer, the same as if you were streaming it, and you can check it that way, check your volume and all that.
I do that, and I have done that for 9 years, so I have terabytes of
Super important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely important.
Okay.
I had something I was going to add to that, and I totally just forgot. So let's go to the next slide.
Yep.
The technical slide. Oh, I was going to say, for a lot of technicalities, there's a whole bunch, like we're not going to get into like the super nitty gritty, here's how to set up your OBS, because there's like a bajillion YouTube tutorials on it that are really, really helpful. In fact, for most things for streaming, there's a bunch of really helpful YouTube tutorials that you can, look up and learn from. So I'd recommend doing that, and also try, like maybe obvious advice too, but try to find ones that are like from this year or really relevant, because like I said before, this is an ever-changing landscape. There's always updates and new things coming out. So keep that in mind as you're like setting up your stream and stuff.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out. If you're streaming and you've got questions, please reach out, send messages. We'll put our contact information afterwards. But a rising tide raises all boats. If you find someone who's gatekeeping information, cut them out of your life. Go find someone else. Like, there's no reason for it. The vast majority of the content creator community is pretty helpful when it comes to these things. Because, like I said, the more that we all get better, the more mainstream it's going to be, and the more mainstream it is, the more viewers there will be, and so free to help each other.
Yeah, I think the majority of streamers are like super nice and super helpful with things. If you have any questions, I mean, even asking them in their chat sometime, if you see a cool alert, you could be like, hey, do you mind if I ask how you actually make that happen? Sometimes they might keep those a little bit, because that's like their proprietary, this is how I make my money thing, right? But sometimes like people have asked me that in my stream, and I've been like, oh, I got to write custom scripts in Firebot to make all these alerts, and it was really cool, and like this is how I did it. Or they might be like, oh, I just kind of set it up as like whatever.
I have derailed my stream for an entire hour before. Just someone will ask a question, and my ADHD goes wild, and like an hour goes by, and it's like, oh, I guess I was doing something else.
We love talking about this, because it's like the behind the scenes things that no one really knows. Like, you just see the final result, but you don't see the hours I spent one Saturday, like writing code and looking up the backend API calls and all of this other stuff, right? So if someone asks about it, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it, let's get into it.
And I know the same for Moo as it was for me. We both had people that helped us when we were starting out.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of streaming is luck. You've got to put yourself in the right position, but a lot of it is just luck, and there's a lot of people that helped us, and so there's no reason that, like I said, a rising tide raises all boats.
And I mean, even the biggest streamers, like I will say, even literally the biggest streamers are helping each other out. Like, no matter what level of streaming you're out at, like, you're still talking to other streamers and collaborating. And I think that's really important to do, as well as having like streamer friends, because not many people really understand this. I can't, talk to my sister or some of my real life friends about this, because they just don't get it. But my streamer friends understand like some of the issues that I might have, or whatever is going on, or if I can't get my alerts working or something, like they might use the same bot and they can help me out. So yeah. So do you want to talk about analytics a little bit?
Yeah, we'll go over it real quick. I'm trying to leave time for Q&A at the end, but I think we've got a little bit. We'll go over it quickly. Analytics, Twitch's dashboard has gotten really good lately with their analytics. There are other platforms you can get at, Twitch Tracker, Solely Known, Commander Root. These are all ones that you can go look up as well, but pay attention to your analytics. There's if that's your thing. Again, if you're just doing it for fun, then great, don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, don't look at it at all.
I treat my stream like a business, and so I'm always doing market research, I'm doing competition research, I'm looking at my analytics, I'm trying to figure out certain things. And so the dashboard has a bunch of that. It's really good.
Dare I say
But
they
the
might,
third-party tools are also excellent to take a look at.
I was just gonna say, they might have some creator camps on the Twitch
They
website
do,
as well
yeah.
that covers analytics.
Yeah.
If you are unfamiliar with those, it's pretty much like Twitch's, what would it be? Like, why am I spacing on all the words right
Like their
now?
boot camp.
Yeah, like their boot camp. It's like here's how to stream, here's our advice straight from Twitch and straight from like streamers that they trust.
Right.
So it's a really good way to learn some ins and outs of Twitch, especially when you're starting. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as stream quality goes, if you want to get super technical, there are tools out there. So Twitch is based out of San Francisco. Twitch is owned by Amazon, so it's all run through AWS. They have ingest servers all over the world. There is an ingest server here in Salt Lake. What I mean by ingest server, I mean when you are broadcasting, this is Twitch's servers that are taking your stuff and then putting it out. Twitch has their own tool. I think it's called like inspector.twitch.tv or something. But there are third-party tools as well. So if you're having a hard time, can't get a solid connection, that's a great way to check. As far as the quality goes, and I rarely use the Salt Lake one for whatever reason. It's like the worst one for me. So I'll usually ingest somewhere else. But and as far as the what quality you're uploading. I did it on Comcast for a number of years. I hate Comcast because their upload is so terrible. Now I'm fortunate enough to have fiber and I don't have to worry about it. I had a friend who lives in Death Valley. She streamed off of satellite and her upload speed, trying to get terribly technical. So like with Comcast, your average upload is like 10 to 12 megabits per second. Her upload was 400 kbps. Like unbelievably slow. You can still make it work. She was streaming retro. You don't need a high frame rate for retro. She streamed, her thing was the lowest bit rate on Twitch. And if on the other side, if you're doing a first person shooter or something with a lot of movement, you want to make sure that you have a solid upload. You're doing 60 frames a second, so there's a variety of ways to look at it, but there isn't just one. But like I said, the ingest servers are one way you can look at that.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just kind of trial and error as well of like setting it up and seeing how it looks, like just doing a quick recording, testing it, well maybe not recording I guess, but just testing it out, watching your VODs.
OBS has tools built into it that will show you why you're dropping packets. If you're dropping packets because of rendering lag or because of upload lag. So OBS has a lot of those tools built into it as well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's okay as well to like turn down your settings a bit too and stream, instead of at like 4K or whatever, maybe do a 1080p or a 720p stream just because if you're, not
Twitch
partnered.
doesn't support 4K.
No, they have it. But,
Yeah, 1440p
well, I know,
now.
but you know what I mean. Like I think, but you just said earlier though that Twitch has it now where like non-partners.
So they have
and
enhanced broadcasting. They just rolled it out that if your computer is powerful enough, you can do the encoding on your own. The OBS will do the encoding in your own computer so that it will take your stream and it'll break it down into 1080, 720, 480, 360, 120, whatever, and then upload all of those to Twitch versus sending it to Twitch and letting them do the breakdown. And if you let them do the breakdown, it used to be that only partners and a limited number of affiliates would get the video options. And the reason why that's important is because it's something like 50% of Twitch users are on mobile. Like it's a huge chunk. I've looked over my analytics and for the last 7 years, nearly 60% of my viewers are on mobile. And if they're on mobile data, they want to be able to turn it down as much as possible. And so blasting out, 1080p, 60 frames, 9,000 Mbps, they're not going to be able to handle that. They're not going to be able to watch it.
So don't always have the internet connection for it.
Or the data or whatever it is. So you got to make sure that you're thinking about who is watching, who's going to consume it. I stream late at night. I start at 8:30 Mountain and I stream until 2 a.m. in the morning or whatever. So there's a lot of people who are watching in bed, like I said, on phones, tablets, whatnot. So quality is something you can look into.
Yeah, I'll go through the little bots and moderation section relatively quickly so we can get to Q&A as well. But I would say, you can set up alerts and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole lot of third-party tools to help with moderation and other things. Seribot is one of them. There's Nightbot, Stream Elements, everything. I think Frosty Tools is really awesome. You should check that one out if
Frosty
you're curious.
Tools is great.
Frosty Tools is it kind of has
fun.
some AI stuff, as they
They have a
say.
large language learning model.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's very ethical and really rad, and the person who makes it is cool too. So shout out to them.
Twitch's
Lots of
built-in
fun stuff.
alerts are really good. They've gotten a lot better now
Yeah.
in the last 3 years, so I would just use them if you're starting out.
Yeah, just set up some Twitch alerts for follows, subscribers, whatever. I would also say Twitch has a really good built-in auto mod where you can block out certain words, so people don't dox you or call you rude things you don't want to be called. You can also turn up the levels of auto mod for different things, so I would highly suggest that. Sometimes it'll block something for a certain word, and it'll let you know, oh, this message was blocked for whatever word, and you can permit that word, as you're streaming, you can just go over into chat and be like, yeah, accept it, that's totally fine. And then it won't block it again. But I would recommend turning those on, especially if you're a marginalized gender streamer, because it helps a lot, and then you just don't have to deal with that, you don't have to think about it, it doesn't bring you down during your stream.
Right.
I would also say make sure that you protect your peace when you stream, kind of going back to having those boundaries. It took me a very long time to realize that I can ban anyone I want, anytime I want, and I don't have to give them a reason.
Nope.
And this is literally some of the best advice that I can give you during this panel, because it doesn't matter if you have 3 viewers. If one of them is talking rude to you, it brings it down, it makes you uncomfortable, it makes everything less fun. And I was in the mentality for such a long time that I needed to keep those people in my stream so I could grow and have more viewers, and it's no, get them out of there and they'll be replaced with someone so much better who actually jives with you. So keep in mind, if someone's just not vibing or they're being rude, just ban them, you don't have to say anything, you can just get them out of there and it's totally okay.
Yep, agreed.
So now we want to talk about monetization just a little bit. I feel like we don't have to go into subs and stuff too much. Everyone kind of knows what those are. There's different levels. Twitch has all of the documentation on it. We're also happy to answer questions. There's, you can get tips through PayPal or Ko-fi. There's also, Patreon and Throne and a whole bunch of things. I think bits is a really big way for money on Twitch as well, just because people can buy bits at streamers get 100% of it, and the cost to the viewer varies by how many bits they end up buying. But would definitely recommend.
Yeah, as far as monetization, I'm not going to speak for Moo, but so in 2018, that was my best year on Twitch, and I was averaging, about 50 viewers a stream, and I was streaming 35 hours a week, 50 viewers, and this is back, it's 2018, I was maybe $1,200 a month through that. Now, my average, 75, 80, 100, whatever, and the amount that I make personally is $600 to $700 a month. So I don't do it full time, but again, it's not there are plenty of ways to increase that. That's not something I'm super focused on, but just to kind of give you an idea of what kind of financial you could look for.
Really quick, I do want to get into, if you do want to make money on your stream, I would recommend setting up a whole bunch of cool alerts that are instant gratification, because that's what people care about, that's what they want. They want to give you money and have something immediately from it. So I have a whole lot of different bit alerts that do different things. Some of them have a smaller chance to do a different variation of it. Yeah. So keep that in mind. That's what some of the best advice I can give for monetization is just instant gratification. If you're doing a subathon or something to raise money or whatever as well, make whatever rewards be a bit more instant, because people might not want to wait until an hour later because they have to go. So if they just gave you $100, you should probably give them their, oh my gosh, thank you, here's the thing. Versus being oh, I'll do it in an hour kind of a thing. But to each their own. Also, I just want to mention ads really quick. You can run ads on your stream, and
you have to run ads.
Well, yeah, you have to, I guess. If you're affiliate or higher, you can run 3 minutes of ads an hour to not have pre-rolls, and that's personally what I do, because I find if there's pre-rolls on someone's stream, I'm going to switch to a different tab, and I'm going to forget to go back personally. So a lot of streamers will do the 3 minutes of ads every hour because pre-rolls can be a killer for stream growth. You can kind of pause your stream for those 3 minutes every hour. That's what I do. I hang out to my community. I like catch up with my subscribers and stuff, or I like go get some water or whatever too. Also, keep in mind that you can reach out to sponsors for things. You are never too small of a streamer to reach out and to try to get opportunities. A big mistake I made was thinking that sponsors reached out to you, and that's not really the case. So even as a full-time streamer, that's not really the case. You have to go out there and you have to hustle. So keep that in mind if that's something you ever want to do. Also, Stream Elements has some like built-in sponsorships too that you can do. So I don't know if we have to talk about the future very much. I guess this is kind of.
I will say the one thing I will say about the future: the days where you could be financially successful streaming only on one platform are gone. Like it's very, very difficult to just start up a Twitch channel today and be successful. So full time, making money to pay your rent, all that. It's virtually impossible. So you need to be prepared to create content on other platforms, short form content that you can push out to other platforms. You can direct them back towards your Twitch, that's fine. But if you're wanting to do it full time, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
I would say like co-stream. I don't co-stream or post much other places, but I'm trying to. So I would say like co-stream, grab your content, put it on, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, blah blah blah. Like if you want to grow, it's the smart thing to do. Closing thoughts here. Just hit the go live button. Just do it. Just do it. Just try. We all start somewhere, and I know it can be scary, but just go for it. Make sure you're having fun. That's my biggest streaming advice overall, forever and ever, is make sure you're having fun and you're just being passionate about what you're doing, because then your audience is having fun and it's just a good time.
Yep.
And you don't have to have an expensive setup.
Yep.
To be entertaining.
So now we'll do a Q&A if we want to line up for the questions, or we've got enough time for that. There, you can find us there. The only caveat that I will say is my stream is 18 plus. You do have to be 13 to have a Twitch account, and there's a lot of accounts that are 18, channels that are 18 plus. Mine is 18 plus for a reason, so sorry if you're not. I'll try to,
we can answer some
it is
questions
what it is,
after,
but so if you're not 18, don't, Anyway, hi.
Hi. I was just wondering, so I struggle with, so I'm affiliate, but I still get very few viewers, which I don't mind. But when I do, there's very large gaps of silence, and I struggle with constantly finding things to talk about. But when I do get talking, I can. So like, what's a way that you can kind of keep from going silent? Because I also know that's kind of a kicker of people wanting to click off your stream.
Do you use a camera or no?
I use a camera, yes.
Okay.
Do you play games on your stream?
Yes, I do gaming. The one thing that I've always noticed is that people really like when I do my horror games because they like watching me get the crap scared out of me.
Yeah, they like the reactions. I would say, like, sometimes when I notice there's kind of a gap or something when I'm playing a game, I'll just kind of talk about the game, or I'll talk about whatever thoughts are like going through my head as I'm playing. I'm always kind of like narrating things. It could be helpful as well to just kind of like write down some topics before stream that you want to talk about. For me, I feel like I'm always like info dumping on like space, or just whatever ADHD thoughts pop into my head. I'm just like blah 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 blah, blah everywhere, like all the time.
I have a friend who's he always picks a question, and he'll post that in his stream title. And the question of the stream is, it could be something as innocuous as what's your favorite movie, to like if he's playing a Final Fantasy game, like what's your favorite Final Fantasy character? Yeah. Something to generate conversation.
Discussion, yeah, and just kind of like asking those questions throughout stream as well, of like, oh, what's your favorite? I really like this mechanic in the game. Like, what's a mechanic you really liked in a game you played?
Yeah.
But not everyone always answers that question, so sometimes it's still silence, and you're like, oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, my question is a two-parter, because there was a few things that you guys said here that I want to expand on. Okay, so I'm trying to stream on Xbox, and I know that you said that you don't know, but how would you suggest I go about finding out how to do that?
I would go to YouTube.
Okay. And also, with the sponsors, how do you get into touch with them?
Go to their websites and look for press contacts, marketing contacts.
Yeah, marketing contacts. Some of them have like creator programs and stuff that you can sign up for as well on there.
Just go and look for their contact. Go to Corsair's website, scroll to the bottom, look for contact.
Yeah.
That's where you can find them.
Also, don't be afraid to tell them no.
We've got like 2 minutes left,
Kind of
so.
speed through a little.
I came in a little late, so I might have missed some like technology discussion. But what would your recommendation be for like mid price good computers, like laptops specifically, or oh yeah?
That's a question I can answer for you right after this.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yes.
Cool, thanks. We'll talk just a sec.
Cool.
I've got a lot of friends at UtahIndieGames.org. Where do you go to find indies, or what advice do you have for an indie looking to sponsor a stream?
Like
I mean-
like an indie game developer wants to, I would go to similar kinds of games on Twitch, find those streamers that you watch them, see what they want to learn, and then go look for their contact information and then send them emails.
Yeah, definitely reach out to them. I think a lot of people are excited about that stuff.
Yeah.
Hi, Jason Rose, he, him. So I've just started streaming about 6 months ago, give or take, and I have 20 followers or so. But my YouTube has about 500 subscribers. Would you say it's worth paying the $16 for Restream, or is there a different software that you think is better for restreaming? Or would you say to focus on the YouTube and stream there, and then try to transfer that audience over to Twitch?
You can stream it both on the same time,
Yeah.
like at the same time.
There are free programs that will do that, but the downside of free is that there's limitations on it. And you have to be careful. I would read the terms and service of YouTube and on Twitch, because there are like limitations, like you can't combine chats, for example. There's like weird things you gotta look into it, but I would try to focus on both, but unfortunately YouTube audiences are wildly different than Twitch audiences. So, but yeah, there are free options out there.
Thank you.
I don't know enough about Restream to really give good advice.
Okay, unfortunately, I think we gotta be done. I think we're all set. So if you got questions, we'll come over
Yeah.
on the side. But
Yeah, we can
anyway,
come
thank
chat.
you all for being here. We appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah.